find our counsel.
We're going to get started. It's 5:30 and we're reconvening into our presentations. This is the part of the meeting where we do have organizations that we invite in to give presentations. First on our list tonight is a presentation on our new arena here in the Valley. Arturo is here. Arturo, there you are. I see you on the screen. And
Yes,
I believe you have a presentation for us. It's all
yes,
yours.
I do. A very exciting presentation. Hope you guys like it.
Go Firebirds.
Yeah, we're all very excited about it. Here we go. 1 second.
Arturo, you want to introduce yourself? I'm sorry, I probably should have done a better introduction.
Yes, my name's Arturo Aviles, and I work for the Firebirds. I work for Acrisure Arena as well. I am the Community Engagement Manager. So I will be your point of contact for any questions that you have, any concerns. If you guys want to know about certain events, you guys can certainly contact me. So can you guys see my screen now?
We can, yes.
All right, here we go. So we are bringing a state-of-the-art facility with upscale hospitality late 2022. On January 26th, we announced our naming rights partner for the next 10 years. The arena is now Acrisure Arena, as you can see. This is a rendering of the arena's main entrance. Our architects mixed desert aesthetics with Palm Springs modernism to create a unique arena with the Coachella Valley essence. Oakview Group, which owns the arena and the project and who will manage the arena, is the largest developer of sports and entertainment facilities in the world. We are investing $4.5 billion on new arena developments over the next 3 years. Acrisure Arena alone is costing us $400 million. At first, the budget was $250 million, then it went up to $300, then to $350, and now we are looking at $400 million to bring this project to life. Here are some of our newest developments. Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle opened in October of 2021. UBS Arena in New York opened in November 2021. Moody Center in Austin, Texas will open April 18th of this year, and the rest are opening within the next 3 years. Our leaders are Tim Lewicki and Irving Asoff. Tim Lewicki is a resident of Indian Wells. He has created many iconic music festivals. He holds 13 championship rings from the sports teams that he has partnered with. Irving Asoff was named the most powerful person in the music industry by Billboard, and they both have a home here in the Coachella Valley. Locally, our ownership is the Oakview Group, as I mentioned. We have a partnership with the Seattle Kraken up in Seattle, and we also have a partnership with Live Nation, the #1 largest concert promoter in the world, and the Burger Foundation, who owns the Classic Club. We have strategically partnered with Live Nation to bring you the best entertainment in the world. Just to give you an idea of how big Live Nation is, they have 30,000 plus events in 40 countries annually. They own the biggest list of the greatest artists in the world, and there is a Live Nation concert every 18 minutes around the world. So that's how big Live Nation is. We are building the most progressive, responsible, and sustainable venues in the world. CB Arena will utilize renewable resources. We strive for carbon neutrality by 2025. The facility will be powered by solar almost 100% on non-event days, and roughly 30% will be powered by solar during events, but we are shooting for carbon neutrality by 2025. A big concern for our residents is the traffic. The Classic Club infrastructure was actually built to handle 50,000 people coming in and out. The arena will only have about 10,000 people. On top of that, we are working on a traffic control plan. Another great thing is that hockey games will start around 7 p.m. I'm sorry, and concerts will start around 8 p.m., which is after the big traffic wave. We will have a parking lot for 3,000 cars. We have partnered with Xavier High School as well for additional parking if need be. As you can see, we have 3 large marquees that will be right by the I-10. Here they are. This is a nice, accurate aerial rendering of how the arena is going to look. As you can see, the freeway here is going eastbound that way. And this is where the stage will be. What a lot of people don't know is about this center right here. This is a community ice skating rink that will be next to the arena. So we will have an ice sheet inside the arena, and we will have one in the community ice skating rink, which will be available for the community 7 days a week. This is a rendering of how the arena is going to look when we have concerts. As you can see, we will cover the ice for events and provide floor level seats. We have designed our arena to create an intimate experience. 90% of the seats are in the lower level, so there's no nosebleed seats. As you can see, these are the suites, and the suites will be on the second level. And the seats for the suites will be right in front of the suite. So the top portion will be all VIP and club seating. This is an accurate rendering of how the arena is going to look during hockey events. This is an accurate rendering of the main concourse. As stated earlier, the arena will have the modernism interior design as well. We tied in texture and materials. We use light colors to evoke a happy, energetic, yet peaceful mood. We also added blacks, golds, and silvers to provide you with a night of elegance. This is a rendering that shows the Bunker Club and the VIP Club. We will provide you with upscale hospitality, the best in the world. The capacity for concerts will be, I'm sorry guys, I have a little cough. The capacity for concerts will be 11,000 and the hockey capacity will be 10,000. And the arena is going to be approximately 300,000 square feet. These are the seats. As I mentioned before, the suites will be at the top, right? So there's 10 suites on each side. So there's a total of 20. This will be club seating. So the VIP area will be at the top. VIP will have parking lot here. I-10 would be down here. And VIP will have a close entrance right next to the parking lot. So these will be the entrances for the premium VIP members. And these will be the main entrance. This will be the main entrance for general admission. So music and sports will be the anchor tenants. We will bring you the best artists and sporting events in the world. We will offer 100 plus nights of events, 36 hockey games, 40 concerts, 30 other events such as boxing, basketball, UFC, Disney on Ice, WWE, and much more. The arena was made for music and built with live touring in mind, state-of-the-art facility, as I mentioned earlier, to provide you the best experience in the world. We will host residencies, which means that we will provide you with more opportunities to see your favorite shows. You can sign up for our newsletter, AcrisureArena.com, to win some prizes, tickets, and to get information about the arena. The arena was built for hockey. We will have 36 home games a year. Our team is the AHL Coachella Valley Firebirds. We are the NHL Seattle Kraken farm team. We are the first professional team in the Coachella Valley. The Firebird is a spiritual descendant of the Kraken. The Kraken is in the deep, dark ocean below, and the Firebird rises out of the flames to soar high above. As you can see, the colors are similar, right? The primary color for the Kraken is the ice blue, and the eye is red alert. Our primary color is red alert, but we have the ice blue in the eye. So one represents fire, the other represents ice, one represents sea, the other one represents desert. So essentially, it's the yin and the yang. Our secondary logo is this here. It's a palm tree with 9 fronds, right? There's 9 cities in the Coachella Valley, so there are 9 fronds on the palm tree. And these are mountains here to represent our beautiful Coachella Valley. Both logos will be included in special color variants to represent diversity. Here's a quick timeline. We announced the new location spring of 2021. We broke ground late June. We revealed the name and the logo in the fall. And just recently, we renamed the arena, Acrisure Arena. We revealed the Firebirds jersey, and we did our topping out ceremony a couple weeks ago. And we are on schedule to open late 2022, sometime in December. It's a short little video. It's about 30, 40 seconds long that I want to play for you guys.
The Acrisure Valley Arena now set to move forward. Riverside County.
The project, which is set to house the newest American League hockey team.
Long-awaited arena going up where it's going to have sports, entertainment.
Could not be more proud to announce the partnership with Acrisure on the new arena. OVG and Acrisure are dedicated to using this platform to improve the lives of everybody in Coachella Valley.
Tackling climate change. The big goal here is to become completely carbon neutral for operations by 2025.
I think the community is really going to support hockey to have a vibrant place. It's especially exciting to bring an arena there.
This is about wanting to do something spectacular. There's not going to be another one of these in our lifetime.
All right, awesome. This is these pictures were taken by a drone February 9th. As you can see, we are moving fast, and if you go by the arena, there is a lot more done already. So I need to update my pictures already, but these are from February 9th. We did our jersey reveal January 24th. You can order your jerseys online. You can customize them. They will be available in the fall. You visit cvfirebirds.com. Let me go ahead and play this quick video as well. Very cool video. I love the logo and the graphics there. All right, so something that we're doing in the community. By the way, I'm almost done. I just have a couple more slides. I'll run through them really fast. Something that we're doing in the community is we are running street hockey clinics with various youth recreation organizations around the entire Coachella Valley. We actually just did one in Palm Springs today for the Palm Springs High School. We actually did 4 of them today for Palm Springs High School. Shannon Miller is our VP of Community Relations. You can see her here in the picture. She is actually a Hockey Hall of Fame coach who won an Olympic medal. She was the first woman to take a team to the Olympics for hockey in the world. And these are some of our partnerships that we are currently working with. And this picture above here, we took 200 ACES students from Coachella Valley Unified School District to their first ever professional hockey game. We took them to the Anaheim Ducks game in January. It was the first time ever going to a hockey game, and now they are starting street hockey after school. You can visit cvfirebirds.com if you guys want some gear to get more information. We also have a retail store on El Paseo across the street from the Apple Store. And that is it. That is my presentation.
Arturo, really appreciate you being there. Sounds like you got a little cold, so we hope you get better.
Thank you.
We have our own recreational program, so maybe you can have them touch base with our rec department, because I'm sure there's a lot of kids here that would love to play street hockey. So
Definitely. I actually did a presentation to your Rotary there in Desert Hot Springs not too long ago. And somebody was supposed to email me some information, but they have not done so. So
I will
if
get
you
that
have
to
some
you.
information, thank you. I
we'll
will
make sure
reach
we
out.
get that out to you by tomorrow. Any other questions by council?
No, just want to say welcome and thank you. Yeah, definitely. I would love to be help out and bring spread the word with these kids here and how to play street hockey, and anything I can do to put on those clinics. Let me know.
Sounds good. We are always looking for people to help out during these clinics, so I will definitely let you know. Yeah, and I try to make, every time that I give a presentation, I try to update it with the questions that people ask me. So I guess I'm getting better because there's always less questions. I try to answer everything. So I try to modify it that way.
Russ?
I've still got a scar on my chin from the last time I was on the ice, so I probably won't be ice skating. But season tickets available once ticket sales go on. Do you anticipate that things are going to be sold out all the time, or
you know what? We reserved a total of 5,000 season tickets. I believe we have about 4,600 sold already. So they're actually moving really fast. Season tickets for just hockey start off at $450, and you require a $100 deposit until you get called to pick your seat. But they range all the way to about, I believe, 19,000. But the 19,000 season tickets include 100 events as well. So it's everything. You'd have your seat for every event and for every hockey game. So there's different options. But yes, they are available. If you guys are interested, you visit steviefirebirds.com and you can leave a deposit for $100 and somebody will get a hold of you and you can choose your seats whenever they call you.
Great. Any other questions? All right, we do have one other presentation, so we're going to move on. Thank you, Arturo, for visiting with us today.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, Mr. White, it is your turn if you want to introduce you and your whomever you brought with you.
Thank you, Mayor Mattis. It's great to see you and council and city staff. We appreciate the opportunity. I have Colleen Pace with us. She's our Chief Sales and Marketing Officer. And Colleen will share our presentation and we'll get going. So we know you have a busy night ahead of you. I also want, while she's doing, I just want to acknowledge Gary Gardner. Gary Gardner serves as the Vice Chair of our JPA Executive Committee. And we certainly appreciate his time and efforts and his leadership and vision that he participates promoting tourism and certainly representing the city of Desert Hot Springs in a very positive manner. And so if you can go to the next slide, Colleen, just as a reminder, this is our strategic initiatives. We're trying to reach 16 million visitors by 2026. Obviously, we've had a little setback, but we're trying to make up for that post-COVID now. But the key areas are promoting regional collaboration amongst the 9 cities, supporting workforce development, which has never been more important, focusing on our key pillars of health and wellness, arts and culture, outdoor adventure, unique culinary experiences, LGBTQ, really trying to drive demand for off-season, summer and need periods, international visitation. Certainly that's, we need that to come back as soon as possible. Broaden and improve visitor experiences. The tourism grant, I think, is going to help with that. Obviously, access between rail, road, and air is a key driver for us. And then new to the priorities of sustainability and diversity, equity, and inclusion. And if we go to the next slide, just a real quick financial update. This is our budget for 21-22. 83% of our budget comes from our business improvement district, 8% from private, 9% from the JPA funding formula. So you can see the stats there. And this is a shorter version. We've given you both the long version and the short version. So we're going to give you the short version tonight. So we're going to really kind of detail it in. And then the next slide just shows that 89% of our funds are dedicated to marketing, communications, sales, and business development. And so with that, we're going to destination research. Everything that we do is steeped in research. We love to understand what the consumer is thinking. And in this case, we want to understand what the residents of our valley are thinking about tourism. So we're going to embark on a resident study. We're also finishing up a cannabis economic impact study. Hopefully we'll have that in April. We're also just completed a study on meeting professionals. We want to understand what they think of our destination, what are the barriers, what's inspiring them so we make the right marketing decisions and the right strategic initiatives. We're also doing a study on the vacation rental economic impact study that'll be coming out here shortly. We're also doing one on the effect of banning vacation rentals in cities as well. That's going to take a little bit longer, but that's on the it's in the works. And then we're also doing another study about workforce development, really kind of highlighting what the career opportunities are in tourism to really try to educate our youth and those that are coming into the workforce industry about the opportunities working in this industry. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Colleen, and I'll be back in a few slides to give you some more updates.
Thank you so much, Scott. Good evening. I'm going to do a brief overview of our marketing programs. Here you can see an overview of all the media partners that we work with and all of the campaigns that we work with them on. We've categorized this, so we have our awareness media in TV and out-of-home billboard. We work with online travel agents like Expedia, TripAdvisor, and TravelZoo. We have our digital advertising and retargeting programs like Adara Centro and Sojourn. Our content programs where we share a lot of really impactful information on what people are looking for about our destination, aligned with our pillars that Scott mentioned earlier. We also have some seasonal weather triggers to talk about all of our great sunshine and all of the great weather that we have here. And then, of course, our social media. So a quick look back to summer. Our summer campaign, Check-In, Chill Out, was established through what Scott was speaking about in terms of research. We did do some research on some taglines to see what resonated with consumers, and Check-In, Chill Out was by far the winner of what people really wanted to see for our destination. So that was our campaign, Check-In, Chill Out. There's some examples there. We ran over 500,000 TV spots in the expanded markets due to our new flight access. So in the past, we've run those more in the drive market, but we were able to expand those to align with our new flights. You can see there with the addition of Oakland, Seattle, Portland, Dallas, Denver, and Salt Lake City. We also support the new airline, Southwest Airlines, obviously coming into the destination, a huge win for us. So we did run a campaign over the summer to specifically support all of the new direct flights. We did that through a variety of a multimedia campaign. You can see the results here. We had 2.1 billion TV impressions and 12.7 million digital impressions. We were able to track, we can pixel our digital advertising to be able to track people through the booking process. And we were able to track over 1,000 flights booked, 1,200 room nights, and over 600,000 in revenue. We also ran a sweepstakes summer social media campaign to support the new flights. You can see here some of the animated features that we had on social media, highlighting all the direct flights. And then we had some great video content that we also pushed out. And from that campaign, we gained over 6,000 new followers to our social media channels. We also tagged some of our television spots specifically with the Southwest airline tag, call to action, in the markets that we have direct flights from. And I have an example here to share.
This other world, looking on create opens inspiration. Paint sky and earth, everything collides, it's a new sensation. You'll find me there.
We also launched our new co-op programs in 2022. During COVID, we did have to pause some of these programs, but we have reestablished these programs, including new programs like digital, native advertising, audio, and social media campaigns. So these are all available for our partners to participate in. Moving on to fall and winter campaign, which is currently running. This is our What Will You Find campaign, estimating 12 billion impressions and 800,000 spots. You can see some of the creative here with the What Will You Find with the call to action to book, and also the expanded markets that align with all of our direct flights. We also partnered with Flair Airlines during the fall to promote the new flight to Toronto. And here are some samples of those media and digital advertising. And again, tagged a spot specifically with the call to action for that Toronto flight, and I have that to share as well.
I'm climbing up where skies are wide. Give me those open spaces. Go find your own oasis.
Visit Greater Palm Springs. Find your oasis.
And then also some fun social media spots that we created, What Will You Find, which is really allowing people to explore the things that they're interested in about the destination. And we have a fun video that we have from social media here as well.
What will you find? Visit Greater Palm Springs. Find your oasis.
And now moving on to some digital results. We partner with Expedia on a digital campaign. Here you can see for 2021 the results for bookings that booked in Desert Hot Springs, the room nights, gross bookings, and estimated TOT associated with that on the top. And there below, Adara, we're able to pixel all of our ads for our brand campaign and track them through the booking process, as I mentioned before. So we were able to track 1.4% of the hotel bookings, which is over 12 million. So 172,000 plus that booked in Desert Hot Springs. On to social media, we have all of the platforms that you would expect: Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, our newsletters, YouTube, and we just recently added TikTok. So we've been experimenting with some fun video content to the Gen Zers who are very much into TikTok. We measure success through impressions, video views, and engagement, shares, likes, comments, and so on. And I have a few examples here to share. Moving on to blog content, we have some great blogs for Desert Hot Springs, the Hot Water Guide to Desert Hot Springs in Palm Springs. It is the #1 blog on our website. That's out of hundreds of blogs that we have. And not only is it the #1 blog content that we have, but it is the #3 most visited page view, second or third to our homepage and our things to do page. So it is an enormously popular blog. It has over 100,000 views for 2021 and still going. And the #2 blog is the day passes to soak in the hot springs. So a lot of people interested in this content. So we continue to keep this updated and push this out. We also are in the final development of the hiking trail map. You can see here sort of the prototype. It's in the final development and finalizing and tweaking and finessing of that. But obviously the maps of the trails in Desert Hot Springs, some safety tips, descriptions, and we're very close to providing this to Gary and the team in order to provide feedback so we can finalize this in March. We also we've entered into a collaboration with Cultivar Strategy for cannabis tourism. They were in market in January and had meetings in Desert Hot Springs, which they've identified obviously poised for innovation in this area for cannabis tourism. Their results were that there are so many unique spa and wellness experiences that can be paired with cannabis, and we're working towards providing, creating some content for our website and even a canna pass potentially to pair experiences with cannabis experiences. And so this is something we're working with a consultant on. Our next steps are we've conducted a stakeholder survey. We're actually scheduling some webinars for later this month to educate the stakeholders and partners. We'll be providing a toolkit and education, as well as the content that I mentioned for the travel guide, directory, events calendar, and the curated experiences. Here are some examples of the local campaigns that we really focused on in 2021 and during COVID. Obviously, Dine GPS, our Love Local program, where we really focused on supporting the local businesses, and then some of the mobile passes that we had established. So Trailicious, Summer Eats, and coming soon, our Art and Soul program, which we just finished wrapping about 10 days ago. So we're in development and production of that. It's a new series where we'll highlight 7 local artists and what inspires them to do their art in Greater Palm Springs. And then we'll be sharing that through a variety of social media, video content, and blog content. Here are some of the examples I mentioned for the mobile passes, the Trailicious Pass, Summer Eats, and the Love Local Shopping Pass. We're getting ready to launch the Trailicious Pass again this month, and it's really a resource for people to use for hiking. So that's a really great pass that we have, and we're wrapping up our Health and Wellness Pass as well right now. We also have our arts app. There are 18 pieces of public art in Desert Hot Springs. We're launching that later this month. We redeveloped this so it was usable for both iOS and Android. Before it was you could only use it for iPhone. So we're really excited about having this be a local resource and a visitor resource to experience all of our local art. And public relations, a lot of great coverage. You can see here some of the articles that we've had, the impressions and the ad value of over 19 million, and some examples of specific Desert Hot Springs coverage, which is really exciting for the destination. You can see the Wall Street Journal was one of the more recent ones here. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Scott to talk about air service.
Thank you, Colleen. As you know, that air service is a critical component of our industry, and we've been working collaboratively now for about 7-8 years with the airport to grow direct air service into our destination. So as you can see, we've got more air service than we've ever had to more destinations. So we've really grown quite a bit. Certainly Southwest has helped that initiative, and they're year round, which is really nice. And I think our goal now is to continue to encourage those airlines to fly during the summer as well. And we're seeing more and more of that. The next slide shows some of the new service that's been coming in. Swoop out of Edmonton, AHA out of Reno, Allegiant's added multiple cities. Alaska's added Austin and San Jose. Southwest, in addition to the cities they added, they did do Chicago and Dallas during the seasonal time of Christmas and New Year's, and I think that did very well. So we're trying to encourage them to do more of that. And then Flair, we talked about going into Canada. And we're starting to see WestJet now and Air Canada come back online as well. And then partnership, as you know, we're not a member-based organization. All tourism entities can be on our website for free. And if they want to buy into marketing opportunities or enhance their listings or other opportunities to grow their business, they can do that. But we have 114 businesses from Desert Hot Springs on our website. 28 of those are investing partners. The other 83 are obviously listed for free. And we have over 3,342 listings overall on our website. So it's really robust content and access for our travelers and our residents to learn more about the businesses in our valley. Education is really kind of growing for us. We established the Tourism Foundation really to do scholarships, trying to help the high school students get a little extra help to get them to go into tourism economic schools and other opportunities as well. We're certainly working with opportunities to partner with COD in the future. And then we also, through the foundation, was able to do the grant. So the tourism grant is the first year. We're going to give it a try and look forward to receiving your application for that. You get to 50% of your JPA contribution up to a maximum of $100,000, whichever is greater. And the next slide talks a little bit about what we're doing with College of the Desert. We have applied for a grant through the EDA, but regardless, we will launch something through their PACE program. It's our ambassador program that helps our workers and our community overall learn about the destination, how to be true ambassadors and sell the destination and really represent it in a meaningful way. We're working with them now to create an online version of that. We're also creating a leadership training program. We're working with them to enhance the culinary knife skills, banquet service, customer service, and so forth. So the goal is that the foundation would then sponsor those individuals that maybe can't afford these trainings, or the business can't afford the trainings, or do matches. But the goal is to obviously help those individuals get a better paycheck, earn a better wage with greater knowledge to the industry. So we're partnering with College of the Desert on this. A lot of it will be virtual, and some of it will be in person as well. Tourism development is our international strategy. So obviously during the pandemic, we really focused on US, and now we can focus on Canada and Mexico. We're looking at now growing Australia, France, UK, Germany, and eventually China again as things start to reopen again. So it's an important and critical market for our destination. We're seeing some really strong opportunities hearing about a lot of credits. So a lot of the international travelers who had cancellations have incredible amount of credits coming into this destination. Talking to Scandinavia recently, they get 6 weeks a year. Well, they lost 6 weeks. So this year they have 12 weeks of travel time. And we're seeing that across the UK, Germany, France, and other destinations. So a lot of extra vacation days, a lot of credits, billions of dollars worth. And we're hoping to get a market of that. So Colleen and the Trade Department, Gary Orfield and his team, we're working on co-op programs in these destinations to really make sure that our destination is on the map. And we know that hot springs is a top category for them when they visit our destination. And that's it. That is our presentation. We tried to do it as quick as we could. It's exciting about the arena, and we're honored to be following them as well and partnering with them. And we know that'll be a great addition to our valley.
Thank you both for being here tonight. It's a lot of information. We're about 5 minutes over, but I just wanted to give Gary a minute as the vice chair of the committee to add anything quickly.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I have to say quickly, as you know, Scott, with Gary.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, Scott and Colleen. It was nice that you appeared at Cabot's and at Acrisure Palms there, Colleen. So that was cute. It's been my honor to serve as the city's liaison and representative on the GPS board. And, you know, one thing that we need to think about, both as a city and as a region, is tourism is the largest industry in the valley. It's the largest economic engine, and expanding tourism is what's going to keep this valley going. We've got to do that. We have to particularly do that here in Desert Hot Springs because we have nowhere to go but up with our tourism and our spas and our hotels and getting that municipal revenue so that we have two legs of a stool there of municipal revenue. And one of the things that I think is really most interesting, we just came back from a planning session with GPS, and one of the things we're really going to move towards as an organization is moving towards a major focus on workforce development, encouraging people to consider a career in hospitality. And I think we have a lot of folks here in Desert Hot Springs who will be very interested in that. So I'm looking forward to that program coming up. Scott and Colleen, thank you again. You guys have the best creative team that I've ever seen in my many years. And it's so fun to see how they develop things. They include DHS in there and the amazing messaging that you guys put out. So thank you for that.
Again, thank you guys for participating tonight. Any of the council members have direct comments, they can reach out to you. And I'm really happy to see you guys get into cannabis tourism. I think it's going to be big for the whole valley. So appreciate you guys, and we'll have you back soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your new chambers. The council chamber looks amazing. So congratulations. I know it was a long road to get there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Does anybody need a break before we start? Everybody good? Okay. We're going to get started. We're going to call to order the City of Desert Hot Springs regular meeting of the City Council, and the City Council serving as the successor agency to the former Redevelopment Agency Board for Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. This is our 6 p.m. regular session. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Betts.
Present.
Councilmember Nunez.
Present.
Councilmember Pai.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Gardner.
Present.
And Mayor Mattis.
Present. Our invocation tonight, I'm going to let Councilmember Nunez introduce the individual, and then I have a few words afterwards I'd like to.
Sure. It's been an honor to have Benny here tonight. He's going to be doing our invocation. I've known him for a long time. We used to do sweat lodges together, so I hope that he can come up here and inspire you.
Great. Benny, the microphone's up here. You'll probably have to turn it on when you get up there. The microphone's all yours. Oh, it's actually on for you.
Is it on? Even though it's a small crowd, my favorite thing to do, right? Stand in front of people. So I guess to kick it off like that, Inde, Benny Holloman, that's who I am. My people are Inde. My mother's people, we're from southern Arizona, New Mexico territory. I was born and raised here in the Coachella Valley. Born and raised on Cahuilla land. From where I come from and the way that I was taught is you always acknowledge who the first people were. And that's whose land we're on. They were here first. So I want to acknowledge that like that in a good way. You know, modern society, modern culture, we're all here now, currently, together, regardless of who our people are or where we come from. So I want to acknowledge that too. We call it Tate Topa, the four directions, four winds. and that acknowledges everyone, people of the world, not just in Desert Hot Springs or United States, but everywhere. So I wanted to acknowledge that like that. If I can, I'm gonna open with a song. This song talks about basically where we are today, I hope, and maybe I'll explain a little bit more after I sing it for you. Wani wachielo, wani wachielo, wani wachielo, wani wachielo, maka, aka, otati ke otaielo. Ate wakatanka o makiayo washag mayayo wani wachielo wani wachielo wani wachielo wani wachielo wani wachielo wani wachielo maka aka otati ke otaielo ate wakatanka o makiayo washag mayayo wani wachielo wani wachielo Takuyo yasu Yusana tewa kantakha unshimala yotun khashla shimala yotun khashla ويوخ بياتا وكيانو ياتي وزيا تتانخو ياتي ويوخ يباتا هاكا ياتي يتوكا غاتان تومني وياتي وكانتها إنا مكخا بلاميا وياتي نمخي وچينلو واني وچيلو I come here tonight like that to share a prayer with you. What I said is I acknowledged all those things that I opened with like that, and for us to come together in a good way like that, the way that I understand it, everyone that's here tonight is in a position of service. So I ask the Creator, however you interpret that, however you interpret your higher power, energy, God, to put it in a good way like that, to serve the people in a good way. As a servant myself, I understand that. And ask that whatever happens moving forward this evening like that, any decisions that have to be made, any things that need to be adjusted or corrected, things that need to be said, things that need to be heard today, that happens in a good way. The disagreements can be heard in unbiased ears, that we can move in a place of love, even if we're in disagreement. So I say it like that in a good way. I pray for everybody here, like I said, that's in a position of service. I don't even want to say authority, I want to say of service, in a position to be helping others. So I want to acknowledge that like that in a good way. So the English part, obviously you understood. Again, good evening. The song, the reason why I sung that song is, I think especially with the the recent couple years, things like that, I think it's been very difficult everywhere. But that song, what it's saying is it's saying, I want to live. Wani wachielo. It's saying here on Mother Earth, it is difficult. And it said, Father, Great Spirit, help me. I want to live. So that's how I understand that, that we take care of ourselves in the best way that we can so that we can continue to be of service and not do harm, or at least minimize that. As human beings, we're flawed, and that's probably going to happen. But we're going to move in a good way and do our best. So I just want to say thank you for having me here tonight and allowing me to share that with you. And that's it. Gracias.
Thank you so much. Very inspiring. Thank you so much. I don't know how you followed that, but I had a few things lined up tonight to say also that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention. This is Women's History Month, and Susanna Medora Salter was the first woman elected to the mayor's seat in Argonia, Kansas on April 4th, 1887. After the federal government passed the 19th Amendment in 1920, Betha Knight Landis was the first woman elected mayor of the city with more than 150,000 population. In the state of California in 1915, Estelle Lawton Lindsay was the first woman to execute duties of the mayor in Los Angeles, and in 1916, Ellen French Aldrich was the first elected mayor in California, in Sawtell, California. In the city of Desert Hot Springs, Yvonne Parks was actually the first elected mayor, I believe, in 2008, or at the end of 2007. So puts in perspective of the women that have served our history, and we have one that made history here in Desert Hot Springs. Thank you. With that, we're going to go to the Pledge of Allegiance, and Mayor Pro Tem, would you lead us?
Please face the flag. Place your hand over your heart. Join me in saluting our nation's flag. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam City Attorney, would you report on closed session, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. We have no reportable items tonight.
At this time, we're going to move to the approval of the agenda. At this time, the City Council may amend the order of the agenda, approve the consent calendar in whole, or remove items from the consent calendar. Would anybody like to remove any items from the consent calendar?
Mr. Mayor, motion to approve the agenda with the consent. Any items that any members voted on would be reflected in the second voting of the consent.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Do I have any public speakers on the consent calendar in the audience? Please come forward. Do I have public speakers on Zoom?
No, we do not.
Okay, please vote. Yeah. Sorry, I pushed buttons before I should have. Sorry about that.
And I'm going with an aye.
Oh, there it comes.
Motion passes unanimously.
We'll move to public comments this time. We'll start on Zoom. Is there any public comments on Zoom that would like to address the council? At this time, pursuant to the Brown Act, any persons may comment on matters of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council not listed on the agenda. Under the Brown Act, the City Council shall not take action on or discuss matters raised during public comment. All comments are to be directed to the City Council and shall be devoid of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain professional, courteous decorum during public comments. We'll start on Zoom.
We have Evelyn Rojas, followed by Walker Beverly, and then Marion Champion. Ms. Rojas?
Ms. Rojas, you're muted. Would you like to unmute yourself and say and speak to the council in public comment?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ms. Rojas.
Okay, I'm not sure if you received my comment. I'm wondering if you can have the time shortened from during daylight saving times for construction hours in residential zone from 7 to 5. Right now, at the moment, I think it's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay. And that's your address to the council. We'll read your email and go from there. Thank you for addressing the council. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, that was it.
Thank you so
Thank
much. Next public speaker,
Walker Beverly.
Mr. Beverly.
No comment at this time. Have a great meeting.
Thank you very much. Next public speaker,
Marion Champion.
Ms. Champion.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. My name is Marion Champion, and I am the Programs and Public Affairs Manager at Mission Springs Water District. I'm here tonight to invite all of you to a series of Water 101 classes the district will be hosting starting in March. A comprehensive overview of all things water. These courses will cover MSWD's history, use, and management of this precious resource, along with how we fit into the larger Coachella Valley and state water systems. We've held similar classes in the past, and they have really helped the community gain a better understanding of who we are and what it is we do. The Public Affairs Office is reaching out to local clubs, HOAs, and the city to invite leaders and community influencers to participate. Meetings will be held the fourth Thursday of March, April, May, and June between 6 and 7 p.m. at the new Desert Hot Springs Library. Our general manager, Arden Wallum, will be the primary presenter, but we will also mix it up with videos and additional members of our staff. I've also reached out to the city manager's office to invite city staff as well. If any members of the council would also like to join, please feel free to contact me directly at mchampion@mswd.org, and we will make sure that we reserve your seat. I also wanted, while I'm here, I wanted to let you know about some good news we received over the weekend. Once again, our local water was recognized at the Berkeley Springs International Water Tasting event. On Saturday, we were awarded a bronze medal, bringing the district's total medal count to 10 since we first entered the annual contest in 1997. Having won the most medals of any of the municipal participants, including Best in the World in 2020, we are very proud of our local water and of the efforts of our region to provide, protect, and preserve this important resource. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Any other public speakers on Zoom?
We have one more from a number we do not recognize.
There's a phone number on there if you want to unmute yourself and state your name. Caller, would you like to speak to the council? All right, we're going to move on at this point. Do we have any public comments in the audience? I don't have any sheets that were turned in. Final call for public comments. All right, we're going to close public comments at this time. We'll go to the city manager's report. Mr. City Manager.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. We have updates from Finance, Public Works, and from our Assistant City Manager. So we'll start with Finance, please.
Thank you and good evening. So for the March 1st financial highlights, as of February 28th, the fiscal year 2021 revenues are at over $15.5 million, which is at 51% of the adopted budget. That last year at this time, the revenues were at $13.4 million, which was at 53% of the budget, and 2 years ago, the revenues were at $12.4 million at 55% of the budget. Our fiscal year 21-22 expenditures are over $15.2 million, which is currently at 50% of the adopted budget. Last year at this time, our expenditures were $14.4 million at 53% of the budget, and 2 years ago, it was $14.3 million at 60% of the budget.
Thank you. And then we'll move over to Public Works, please.
Thank you. I got a slide presentation for an update on the Police Department Dispatch Center. I'll show you some pictures for the pre-construction. So this is the old detectives area. And then when we started demolition, you can see that they're ripping out the ceiling tiles, the walls, the carpet, getting everything ready to start the construction. Then this is the prep for plumbing. And the wall installation is currently going on. And then the picture on the left is what we started with, and the picture on the right is obviously where we're currently at. Currently, walls and electrical is going on. The next steps are going to be fire suppression, low voltage, enclosing the walls, and finish work. We're on schedule to complete this project on time at the end of May. This project can be tracked through the city's website under Public Works. Then you can go to Public Works and News. It will also contain pictures and updates. And that's my report.
Thanks, Nick. And then finally, we're going to move over to the Assistant City Manager. As long as I can remember, our city engineer has been Danny Porras. And we promoted Danny to Assistant City Manager early in last year. And now a significant hire has happened that I'd like him to announce to the City Council.
Thank you, Luke. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the city recruited and interviewed many applicants for the position of city engineer. We wanted not only to find the best engineer, but we also wanted to find the best person to fit our city. Our process has led us to finding Jolene Ferris. Jolene Ferris has a bachelor's in science and civil engineering from Cal Baptist University, and she is a licensed professional engineer in the state of California. Jolene comes to Desert Hot Springs with over 16 years experience of working in the private sector. She has great expertise in project management and stormwater and water quality, and brings her experience in working in residential, commercial, industrial, and regional projects. We are all very happy and excited she has joined our team. So please feel free to stop by or give her a call and welcome her as part of our team. Hello. Thank you.
Thanks, Danny.
Nice to meet you guys.
So we're looking forward to working with Jolene. So that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. We're going to move to the mayor and council member comments, and in honor of Women's Story Month, we'll start with Jan Pye.
Okay, I attended 2 parades. One was the President's Parade hosted by Supervisor Perez, and the other was the Black History Parade, and I rode with Trey. Who won the spelling contest. And I wanted to say one more thing about Mayor Parks. Mayor Parks wanted Desert Hot Springs not to be called Desperate Hot Springs. And she worked all over the valley to make us desirous hot springs. And so she was the start of it. And she also brought light to the senior center. And because of her, we are now called Desert Hot Springs, our true name. I'm done.
Thank you very much. Mr. Nunez.
I have none.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You had mentioned women's history, and Bertha Knight Landis, she was mayor of Seattle, the first elected woman. I spent 30 years of my life up there. She's a very well-known figure up there. I really don't have any meetings to report on this week. I did want to just touch on a couple of things. I met a couple of individuals who are looking at taking advantage of our spa preservation ordinance, and we looked at a few properties and sites, and I'm hopeful we'll see them coming to town soon. And I wanted to announce that Diversity DHS is hosting a town hall with our very own Police Chief Henson. That will be this coming Saturday, March 5th at 6 p.m. here in the City Council chambers. And while Diversity DHS set this up primarily for the LGBT community, everybody is welcome. So that will be Saturday at 6 p.m. with Chief Henson. That's all I got.
Mr. Betts.
Wow, a little hard to go on long here after all that, but on the subject of our herstory here in Desert Hot Springs, I might make note that one of our original founder, the first one to homestead their property in Desert Hot Springs, was Hilda Gray, and you got quite a nice history there. Everybody knows about Cabot. Well, she actually showed Cabot where his survey markers were, and she was the first one to be out here for 5 years, perfect her homestead, and then of course sold out to Cabot some years later and went back to Gardena, California. But anyhow, we have actually male and female founders here, so that's, I wasn't planning to bring that up, but you guys all went on that, so there we go. Of course, leave it to Mission Springs Water District to show up and announce that they have won another award. I had it on here in my notes, but I should have figured they'd show up to let us know all that. So that's good news. Congratulations, best tasting water. Again, they came in third this time, but that's okay. That's an international tasting contest, Berkeley Springs, and so that's a really good deal there. There's some other good news that came out of Mission Springs Water District. I'm glad they didn't mention it, steal my thunder, but back I think in February, end of February, I noticed a post by Director Garcia announcing a program that Mission Springs Water District had applied for, and it brought in was $1.2 million to help water customers, our residents, who were in arrears on their bill and on their water bills. So a lot of people running some tough times, got behind, having all kinds of trouble. And so I want a big shout out to Mission Springs Water District for taking care of this. It takes care of 9,166 water customers who will basically have had their past due bills wiped out. I'll notice for them that they've now gone back to shutting off your water in April, so pay your bills now. But that's the good news there, is that that took place. So I attended an MSWD meeting. Their meetings are on video if you want to get some more detail on that, but I think mostly you're just going to notice in your bill that, so I guess that would free up that we could collect more taxes from all those people, right? So anyhow, we had a meeting at Sky Haven. It's Sky's Haven mobile home community with the chief and the city manager. Went very well. So I think it's something that the council and staff's working on doing more, where council members get out with staff into these community type meetings. It was very beneficial. A lot of questions come up, and this was an opportunity for just some of the most basic questions, like, are we part of the city, that type of thing. And of course they were, to come up and deal with the concerns that they had. So Chief did a great job with him and the other chief. Both were there and did a really good job answering the community's questions regarding public safety and the other issues that came up. Also, just going to take note here of and just take a little bit of time here. We took a visit to the city of Lake Elsinore, and with through the different boards and commissions that we sit on, you get to know different council members from other cities. And I have struck up a friendship with the mayor of Lake Elsinore, Steve Manos. And as we converse back and forth, we talk about different issues that are common to the cities. And one of them, of course, is the homeless issue. And so I'd say for the past year, we've been talking back and forth on, well, what's your approach to this? Well, how do you deal with that? And as I got to talking to him, I said, well, wow, you guys are taking a 180-degree different direction than we are as the conventional thinking. And we should get together. And then I started seeing some videos that were put out by Steve on social media and talking about the progress they've made. And they've made real progress there. And I'm not going to get into all the detail, but I think it was a very good meeting, and staff, a lot of notes taken. And I think it's something where an action plan can be developed, the council can come together, and I think it's something where I'd like to see some sort of maybe a workshop or something developed where we can get our heads around that presentation. But anyhow, it was really very enlightening, and I think we can see some good progress on, helping a lot of people in our town who need some help. We all see them every day. And then the other key component of that is also helping our town. It's a two-part program that we help our city and we help those that are here that need help. So I was just very, very impressed with that. That's all I have. I had the usual cadre of meetings, but nothing pertaining to Desert Hot Springs. So, Mr. Mayor, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. First, I wanted to thank Mayor Pro Tem and the council for covering for me the last meeting. I was ill, and out of 15 years on the city council, I think that was only the third time I've missed a meeting. So I appreciate everybody's patience on that. So I am going to have a little bit of a longer report, but not much longer. I just wanted to catch up a couple things. On the 7th of February, I did attend the Coachella Valley Association of Governments Transportation meeting. And again, we pushed forward Cycle 6, which is the arts and music line and Desert Hot Springs link to the CV Link grant to the state of California for ATP. We'll see how we fare on that. we were this close to receiving $30 million. The governor had actually put it in the budget, and then the legislators decided to yank it out at the last minute, unfortunately. I don't want to say too many bad things because it might have gone to a good cause, but for the most part, it was sad to see that $30 million lost, but not lost completely. We still have the plan, and we're going forth again in cycle 6. Cross our fingers. On the 9th of February, I was invited to speak at every 15 minutes. So every 15 minutes is where high schools act out the loss of an individual due to a drunk driving accident, and high school is very creative with their media department, and they go and they actually had a student write the script. They had CAL FIRE, our police department, there was AMR ambulance, so many agencies involved, COD's nursing program, and they were able to utilize all these individuals and put together a mock accident scene. My family was well represented in this area. My wife participated, my daughters both participated, and it happens about every 3 or 4 or 5 years here in Desert Hot Springs. This is the second time since I've been mayor that it's happened, and it's very impactful to hopefully a few students. When you're in high school, you're not going to pay attention to a whole lot, but I think the impact about this program is hopefully impactful to at least a few. With that said, they had asked me to speak as the mayor, and the parent speakers, she had decided last minute that she just couldn't speak to the students because it was too close to home. She had lost a family relative to a drunk driving accident, and it was too close to her. So I spoke from a parent's aspect, and I spoke from the mayor's aspect on what I felt, and the California Highway Patrol, who actually helps put this together with the students, spoke, and our resource officer spoke, and he did a very good job, Chief. And we hope to touch just a few lives with that. But really what it was about is the students participating and knowing how the process really happens. I think what happens in this day and age is that you hear about it. In 1990, the reason this came about was named every 15 minutes. In 1990, every 15 minutes, someone died from an alcohol-related accident in the United States. That's pretty impactful. Who knows what those numbers are today. But hopefully we'll prevent that with all participating. So I wanted to thank Public Safety for helping our local high school out and everyone else that participated in that. Let's just hope we save a life. Riverside County Transportation, I want to thank Mr. Betts stepped in. There wasn't really anything pertaining to Desert Hot Springs. I announced in the meeting before that the budget implementation had pushed forward the sidewalks, and he finalized the vote for that in the Cactus 8th Street area, which is the Woodman Park area. So with planning and the funding and everything, it's usually somewhere between a 2 and 3 year process. So Nick and his staff will be working on that as time comes, but we'll be looking forward to that. Again, those are sidewalk funds that we received from the state of California, and we'll be able to put into areas that don't have sidewalks, so it'll be well needed in that area. I see IVTHC is presented here tonight. I wanted to thank you for inviting me to your ribbon cutting. It was again grand opening. They've moved locations onto Pearson Boulevard in our downtown area that we were trying to revitalize. And again, thank you to your business and what your industry has done for our community. The tax revenue that the dispensaries bring into our community are huge. So we really appreciate you on that. Thank you. I was asked to play in the Food Now golf tournament this year. I just wanted to bring this up. It's fun to play golf, but it was locally. I think there was I believe there actually was some city staff there, and we supported Food Now. Food Now, for every dollar that you spend supporting them, they're our local food pantry here in Desert Hot Springs. For every dollar that you spend, they can feed 5 families, and that's a lot. So just remember them in your donations each year, even if it's just $5. Can you imagine how much you can do for them? That's one of their bigger fundraisers throughout the year. They do this golf tournament. They host it at Mission Lakes Country Club. Mission Lakes Country Club is the country club to the north. It's not actually part of the city limits, but it is part of the city limits. A lot of Desert Hot Springs people utilize that club up there, and they've reorganized recently, and it is magnificent. Their golf course looks great, and it was really a well-run tournament. sometimes you get these tournaments and they can drag out, and this one really was won really well by the pro up there, so I was really impressed. And I think my team beat Nick's team, so that was great. So that's all that mattered. Danny, you weren't playing with Nick this time, so I think that's the reason they lost. But let's see. I also was invited to the Parent Advisory Committee for the Desert Hot Springs High School. This is something that we all have heard recently, that the Desert Hot Springs High School has hired a new principal. Principal Tanako is not new to our area. He's actually was a principal at Bubbling Wells High School, or Bubbling Wells Elementary School for many years, Desert Springs Middle School for a few years, and now he's been assigned to Desert Hot Springs High School. He's coming in really with a good heart and understanding, and a lot of these kids have actually grown up through his leadership as principal through the elementary and middle school. So he's got some respect there, and it's really they're going to do this quarterly, I believe, or a couple times a year, where they have a parent advisory committee, which is a mixture of parents, government leaders, teachers, those types of things, just to talk about the issues and where they're going moving forward. So I was really impressed with him. He's only been there a few weeks. He took over sometime, I think, at the beginning of December. So really, with COVID and everything, he's only had a couple weeks on campus, but he's really going forward. One of the things I took from that meeting, which I thought was very good, was great, was the fact that we have a lot of individuals that speak both two languages, and primarily Spanish. And so when they speak Spanish, a lot of them that's their normal second language, and they don't think about taking the class because, unless you want to get a quick grade on it, a lot of them just don't. Well, there's an AP test that you can take, and you can get college credit for it. And so he's asked 50 of the students that aren't participating in Spanish class to take this test and possibly get credit for it. And he said, if you don't pass, you don't pass. You don't get the credit, but if you pass, you get the credit. Why not try? And he convinced them. So he's got 50 students going to take this test. So just he's understanding everything from the sports to the theater to the educational portion of it, and I just think he's well-rounded. So I wanted to toot his horn a little bit and say thank you for what he's doing. I was also asked to be a judge at the talent show that night, and it was really fun. It really was. A lot of great talent in our community with these students. Riverside County Transportation Budget and Implementation Meeting met on Monday. There was no reportable action on that really pertained to Desert Hot Springs. And finally, the Executive Committee for the Coachella Valley Association of Governments met. And I wanted to give a quick update on some of the major projects that are going through. You might hear a lot about this middle mile stuff, and this is basically the synchronization of a lot of our main thoroughfares throughout the Coachella Valley. What we've done is found grant funding that we meaning the Coachella Valley 9 cities, and along with the tribes, can put together a program where we're putting the components into the ground ready for the fiber optics and other things that are going to come in the future. And we in Desert Hot Springs are a link to that. It'll be coming up Palm Drive, and so it's really an important piece to moving traffic throughout the Coachella Valley, but also being able to utilize the fiber lines that will eventually be put in there. So that's moving along. We've talked about this a while back. It's been a 15-year passion of mine to find money for my neighboring city, Palm Springs, to keep Indian Canyon and Palm Drive open, Gene Autry. And it's been a labor of love. We've gone through these peaks and valleys. The initial fix for that was to build a $250,000 bridge on Indian and $250 million bridge on Indian and a $250 million bridge in Gene Autry. It's just never going to happen. There's never going to be that much funding. So we started to put together a different study, and we added other areas like Desert Hot Springs wash areas, the Varner Road access, and we've morphed this into a bigger project which will actually help traffic flow and be able to move traffic and be able to keep the waterways from closing the roads, and then hopefully eventually have maybe some innovative ideas on the blow sand closing the roads. An act of God we can't control, and nor will we ever control that corridor that closes Indian Canyon and Gene Autry. It's just never going to happen until we come up with some real solutions. And recently, CVAG's gone through some growing pains in employment, so they're growing at a fast rate, and they're now hiring extra program managers and project managers and those types of things. So as they hire those, we're going to get back to this and try to find solutions for this. So I wanted to get everybody an update on that. The Varner Road is kind of a piece of that. We have a lot of people that call us all the time and say, why can't you keep Varner Road open and all this other stuff, not realizing it's in another city and county. It's in the county and another city. It's not even in the city of Desert Hot Springs, but a lot of our residents use it as a thoroughfare to get in and around the valley. So I continue to put that on our transportation list of things that we need to help do. A big talk about last year was Highway 62 in Pearson. I know Mr. Betts, I know Mr. Gardner came to me. I'm sure other council members received emails that Pearson and 62 doesn't have a stoplight. It's very dangerous. We've had 2 deaths, I believe, last year because in that area, and multiple casualties due to car accidents. So the discussion started at that point. I said I would carry the ball for the council. I am. We've actually got as far as Caltrans now and Riverside County Transportation, and Mr. Porras is working on that. We'll probably have an update in the next month or so on a pathway for that. I'm hoping they've got some big meetings set up here in the near future, and we'll have some better answers as time goes on with that. I want to say that at one point there was a stoplight slated there when development was huge in the early 2000s and the project across the highway was being built. That was part of they were going to put a stoplight there, and when the economy went what it did with the recession, it went away, and there wasn't any funding at the time to continue that project. There was no funding to continue that stoplight. So now we're back there and we're trying to get it reorganized and make sure that it happens. And then finally, the Indian Canyon Transportation Project that we started almost 6 years ago. The 3 agencies, the City of Palm Springs, City of Desert Hot Springs, and County Riverside, has finally come to complete. The Coachella Valley Association of Governments will actually be taking some film, and they'll be making a presentation on the completion of that project. It was a tri-city or tri-project with multiple agencies involved, and it was something that was well needed. I hope that you traveling on Indian Canyon from I-10 to Dillon Road can see that it's now open, easier traveling, and we'll continue to move those types of projects throughout our city so that our arterials are easily accessed and not clogged up as they have been in the past. And that's all I have at this point. All right. We are going to move into our public hearings at this time, and our item number 4 is the transition from at-large to by-district elections. Public hearings number 2. Mr. Siriano.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This is public hearing number 2 out of the 4 required public hearings that we're required to hold. For the folks that are just learning about this process, I'll start with some background. On November 1st, 2021, the city received a letter from an attorney asserting that the city's at-large election system may potentially violate the California Voting Rights Act and threatening litigation if the city does not voluntarily transition to district-based elections. On December 8th, 2021, the City Council adopted a resolution declaring its intent to transition from at-large to district elections. On February 15th, the City Council held the first required public hearing. At that meeting, we received a presentation from our demographer regarding the legal requirements to be considered, the criteria for creating district boundaries, and the public input process. That brings us to today. So the purpose of the first 2 public hearings is to inform the public about the districting process and to hear from the community on what factors should be taken into consideration while creating boundaries. Following this hearing, the map drawing phase of the process begins. This involves the city's demographer using data from the 2020 census, city council direction, as well as public input to draw draft maps for consideration at public hearing number 3, which will be held on March 15, 2022. A final district map will then be presented at public hearing number 4, which will be held on April 5th, 2022. In addition to the public hearings, public workshops were held on Thursday, February 17, and on Thursday, February 24. A third public workshop is scheduled to be held on March 9th here in the council chamber at City Hall. Also, Zoom access is available for those who want to participate virtually. Joining us this evening is our demographer and public outreach team on Zoom. So we have David Eli, Tizok Diaz, Tizok
Diazlan.
Thank you. And also Andrew Westall. That concludes my staff report.
Thank you. We will entertain questions to staff from the council at this point. Is there any questions to staff in regards to this? See nobody raising their hand. We'll open the public hearing at this time. Is there anybody on Zoom that would like to give testimony? No?
No, we do not.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to come forth and give testimony? Yes, sir, you may come forth. Press the button there and state your name and give your testimony.
My name is Lance Weber. When you you disenfranchise every voter by 4/5 of their vote because all 5 of you vote on every issue unless it's in your backyard, which sort of defeats local representation in a certain area anyway. So I just want the public to realize that they're being disenfranchised by this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We did have some correspondence also that was sent in, did we not, from Mr. Anderson? No?
Yes, that was that was for general public comment. He was speaking on item number 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. That was 4. Apologies. They even briefed me on this, so I would know, but I obviously messed that up. Is there any more public testimony in the audience anyone would like to come forth? I don't see anybody coming forth at this time. I'll close the public hearing at this time, and I'll open up the council for discussions and questions to staff and comments. Ms. Pye?
Yes, we asked for public hearings on February 17th. Nobody showed but the city manager and myself. On February 24th at 12 p.m., one person showed, and he was a member of
Citizens on Patrol.
Citizen on Patrol, and you also attended. Let me express again, we vote. You don't vote, and that's something that you're talking about. We need for you to tell us what you want. We have another workshop on March 9th. Before that, on March 8th, we will have the preliminary map. Don't wait till the last minute to then tell us you don't like how we voted. And if I sound upset, it's because we're supposed to be serving you. But if you don't come up and tell us what you want, we can't serve you. I'm done.
Mr. Nunez, any comments?
I just want to echo Mrs. Pye's comments. I mean, this is very, very important. This is going to shape the future of our city and who's going to represent the residents. So I think it's very important that the residents come up and participate, part of the workshops, whatever, what we can do, whatever we can do better. I mean, please, again, let us know. This is way, way too important to not let it go unnoticed. So that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Gardner, anything? Mr. Betts, anything?
Yeah, Lance, I want to thank you for your comments. Lance has been paying attention to city government here, probably as close as anybody I know from a public standpoint. Even before I got on the council, he and I used to talk and show up at the meetings. And he raises an issue that's been brought up on social media and elsewhere, is why did the council make this move? And I just want to make it clear that we were presented with the letter, and every city council that gets presented with the letter saying, hi, you need to go to districts, has had to take a look and see, okay, is there some case that can be made with current state law that would prevent us from having to go to district elections. And as we looked at the demographics of our city with the help of the demographer and everybody else, the conclusion was that we wouldn't be successful in that lawsuit. So the only point of this is that this is something that the council has gone along with out of, I think, necessity, and that being what basically we have to do. And I think the comments on, is it a better system or not a better system, I won't, weigh in on that one or the other, but certainly your sentiments aren't, you're not the only one to express those sentiments that it's not the best system of government. So that's all. I just want to make clear that, we're following a process here that's been handed to us more than one that we initiated.
Yeah, my comments are going to be kind of echo what's been said here tonight. I'm not happy with the process. We're being forced in this process. I watched the last meeting that I wasn't able to attend, so I could understand what the consultant had basically stated to us. And fine, I guess we could be sued, and do we want to waste the taxpayers' money on that? And that's what we don't want. I think this is one of the worst laws written. I think this process is one of the worst. I think this is not something I should be deciding for the people of Desert Hot Springs on where districts should be. But I don't think I have a choice at this point. So as Ms. Pye said, please step forward and give us your best opinions when these maps are made. We have consultants that are going to draw the maps based on their knowledge and what they feel will be fair for the community. And the problem I have at that point is that I want to do everything I can to make it as fair as possible, and that we keep our fingers out of it as much as possible. Where the districts lie will where the districts will lie, and we'll go from there. I will be advocating to keep the mayor as an at-large. I think that is something that needs to happen for this community. This community overwhelmingly supported elected mayor for the city of Desert Hot Springs, and I think that should continue. Where the 4 districts lie for the council members will be basically drawn on population. But I do not believe our city is polarized. I believe our city is spread out. I don't believe there's any pockets of certain types of demographics. I know that it's been proven that there could be, and we would lose in court, but it's hard to believe how diverse our city is, that this is going to benefit us in any way in our community. That's my political stance. Sorry. With that said, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, if I can just throw out one thing. So we do have a dedicated webpage for this process. And if folks cannot make it out to a workshop or a public hearing, they can also submit a public comment form, and that'll go directly to the city clerk's office.
Thank you very much.
So I'm clear here. This is another opportunity for the public to come and express themselves to us, and nobody has.
No, we have one.
Oh, we had one, yeah, sorry. Lance,
and we actually
sorry.
had 2. We had Lance tonight, and we had Mr. Anderson at the last meeting. So we've had 2 public members out of 32,000 and plus in the community. So please, we would like to see at least 5. So please come out. Give your opinions. We have, how many more public hearings, Mr. Ciarano?
We have 2 more after this.
How many?
2 more.
And the next one, the map is presented, the first draft map?
First draft map.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
That'll be an important one for everybody to see the first draft map. So, with that said, I'll entertain a motion.
No motion.
Oh, this is just. This is just. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we had to vote on the conclusion of this. We don't need to. You don't need to vote on this. Okay. So.
I made that mistake last week.
Thank you very much. Whew. Thanks. So we don't need any action on this. This is receive and file. We move on from this point on. And we'll go to the administrative calendar. Item number 5, and it's an ordinance amending Chapter 8.16 Shopping and Laundry Carts of Title 8 Health and Safety of the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code to enhance regulations for the containment and retrieval of shopping carts. Ms. Newsom from our compliance manager from Code is here tonight. I just wanted to lead, before you went into your report, when did we work on this, Russell, the shopping cart ordinance? It was like 2009, 10?
2009 something.
So we had an ordinance, but we found some holes in it, and we're going to strengthen those, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Go ahead.
Good evening. Tonight, staff is proposing that the council approve to amend the current regulations in Title 8 of the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code regarding containment, retrieval, and abatement of shopping carts Recently, staff has received an increase in complaints of abandoned shopping carts in the city, and as a result, our Public Works and Code Compliance divisions are dedicating more time to their retrieval. The proposed amended regulations will require that every cart owner implement and maintain an on-site containment plan. That plan will include the installation and maintenance of disabling devices on all carts, which will prevent their removal from the business premises. Cart owners will be required to maintain a qualified retrieval service for carts that have been removed from the business premises. Additionally, any cart that does not have an electronic or disabling device should be immediately removed from circulation until the device can be added. The proposed amendment also includes a new section that outlines prohibited conduct, providing that it shall be unlawful for any person in possession of a cart that has been removed from a business premise without approval. That concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Before we get to questions by council, we're going to open it up to public comments. Do I have any? I know we had a public comment entered into the city clerk's office today. Is that individual here to speak to it, or did you need to read it?
Yes, it's from Brad Anderson. We don't see him on Zoom. However, he did submit written comments that was emailed to the city council.
Okay, so full city council, did anybody want to hear his comments?
I've read it.
He's not a member of the city, is he?
No.
I'm done.
Okay, so I don't have anybody wanting to, everybody was emailed, didn't have a chance to read it. So anyone else on Zoom wanting to speak to this item?
No.
Anyone in the audience would like to speak to this item? I don't see anybody coming forth. I will entertain questions, and I have Mr. Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Newsom. Just one quick question. We are requiring now in this ordinance that they put on the locking device that once you take it across a certain line, it freezes up and the wheels won't go. And as you mentioned, they have to remove a cart from service if it fails the test of going across the electronic line. Seeing as most of our stores now either have these or don't have them or don't have operating ones, and we adopt this and it goes through the cycle, I think the effective date on this, because it isn't, I didn't see it directly in the ordinance, but the effective date is about 30 days out from now. Is that, I'm very supportive of this, but is that enough time for them to be able to retrofit all of their carts?
So we've thought about that and discussed it, and I believe the plan is to alert all of the retailers that are currently utilizing shopping carts once the ordinance passes, to send them 2 notices and do a little bit of research as to what would be adequate time to install those disabling devices should they not have them currently.
Okay, so, but do you feel a date certain of, I'm just going to pull something out of thin air and say August 1st would be more appropriate, or do you think you have enough ability to enforce this without a date certain?
So currently, I think we do need to notice all of them to ensure that they have adequate time to install the devices. But as soon as it passes, we're not going to run right out and start enforcing should they not have disabling devices.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so a little history here. This is a update to an existing ordinance, and Mayor and I worked on this way back when. The situation was that there were carts everywhere, and the talk was, well, we need to increase the cart retrieval system, and where people go and drive around the cars and fish these carts out of the city. And the idea was, well, rather than fishing them out of the city, let's prevent them from leaving the city at all. And so when the mayor and I researched this, we found out that there was this cart lock system where you lock the wheels, and so this has been in place and it's been largely effective for number of years. So this isn't a situation where every new shopping center owner here or store is unfamiliar with this. But some of them are maybe now with this new ordinance having to change what they've done. And so I think, that was the same question before, was how much time do they need? And I think they got a lot of extra time, 6 months or something the first go around, but eventually it happened. So what you have is, for example, Stater Brothers carts, Vaughn's carts, all have the wheel locks on them now. Some of the smaller retails, they were required to put a bar or some other means, and apparently that hasn't been effective. So, that's what's going on here, is this one's getting, staff has taken a look at it and said, hey, we can shore this up and make it work better because it has been slipping a little bit. And then I went and looked at the Vaughn's carts, and I think what happens is you have the distributor, the regional distribution of carts show up and they get a bunch of new carts, they need them, and they get the ones without the wheel locks. And I'm going, half of these carts in here don't have the wheel locks on it, so even the stores that have their perimeter wire weren't getting this done. So it's been very effective. There's some problems with people figuring out how to override that system. And so this is, I think, I'm really happy that staff is bringing this now to shore this up. With the graffiti and shopping carts left everywhere, it just says, it's a city that didn't care when you just had that kind of stuff. There's some visuals when you go through a city, and if I see a city that's got shopping carts strewn all over the place or graffiti everywhere, I say, this is not really an upscale, nice place that I want to live. So we took care of those things. This is another case. And then, of course, the other benefit of this is when you're pushing a cart in the store, they instantly got cleaner when we put this thing in because they weren't being wheeled all over the city, left in some dirt lot, flipped over, getting all dusty and dirty. And if I was going to say one thing, I'd say maybe have something in here where that they clean the carts every so often, except I think this will take care of it if they stay in the lot. Anyhow, I went on a little bit more on this, but I just wanted to provide that history in case it wasn't clear that this isn't new, this is new and improved, right? Okay, so we got a new and improved ordinance, and I'm all in favor of it.
I don't think we need to add the cleaning in there. The major shopping companies already do that early mornings. So, okay. Mr. Nunez?
I think this is a great way for us to start thinking about the future and as more development, more stores come in. And I just hope it doesn't have adverse effects on the bird scooters when they're trying to go to, when they get locked up.
Ms. Pye, anything? Bird scooters. And I'd just like to add that we used to have this truck that drove around our town and had to pick up, and then our public works had to pick up the broken ones. And the guy that would drive around, it was a contract, and he picked up the ones that were in good shape because he got paid to bring those back to the stores and made sure they were in working order. So all the broken ones got left out there, and our public works department, I think, had a whole junkyard of them at one point. I do believe since 2010 we've seen a real big decrease in shopping carts, but in recent memory for the last year or so, we've kind of seen an increase. Where they're coming from, we don't know, but this will help strengthen that. Appreciate all the hard work you guys have done.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion. There is a motion by Mr. Betts, seconded by Mr. Gardner. Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously. This is the first reading of an ordinance of the City Council amending Chapter 8.16, Shopping and Laundry Carts of Title 8, Health and Safety of the Desert Hot Springs Municipal Code to enhance regulations for the containment and retrieval of shopping carts. The ordinance will return on March 15th for second reading and adoption.
Thank you very much. Item 6 tonight is the mid-year budget adjustments for the 2021-22 fiscal year. Mr. Buckheim.
Yes, thank you. So we have a short slide presentation on the budget adjustments. So the budget adjustments, we do adjustments every year during the mid-year to account for changes that happen. So they account for continue the day-to-day operations of the city. The adjustments in the revenue and expenses throughout the year are based on actual information. So either revenues we've already received and estimates based on that. These current budget adjustments include changes for the most recent bargaining unit MOUs. They also include general emergency repairs, maintenance, and improvements to various city and public property. These also include increases the public safety facility improvement projects, such as the new fire station, improvements to the police station, which are funded by the new bonds. We're also accounting for unanticipated events that have occurred through the years, and it's helped us to accurately account for reserves. For this fiscal year in the Consolidated General Fund, we have over $2.9 million in revenue adjustments, consisting of property transfer tax, the transient occupancy tax, one of the larger ones, building plan check fees, and the largest one being transfers in, most of which, 1.8 million of that being the transfer from the American Rescue Plan Act funds. for the consolidated general fund expenditures. We are showing actually a $11,000 savings in salaries and benefits, even though we've had an increase due to the MOU contracts. We also had quite a bit of savings in from vacant positions. So we had several positions vacant. Also with the dispatch center, we had budgeted to be hiring the employees for that center at the beginning of January, and that's been put off. Other increases include contract services, repairs and maintenance, and then another decrease in transfers out. One of that is because of the higher utility users tax revenue, that a larger portion of which goes into the debt service fund. A larger portion of that can go and help pay for the debt service payments every year. So then for the consolidated general fund, on the basic fund balance, we adopted the 21-22 budget with over $1.7 million expenditures over revenues. We have $2.9 million in revenue increases, and then a little over $1 million in expenditure increases, which will give us an amended budget surplus of $105,000. So the $2.9 million in revenue increases will go to cover the $1 million in expenditure increases, but also goes and covers that $1.7 million of the adopted budget expenditures over revenues, of which that is the use of the ARPA funds for the dispatch center. And in the restricted funds, we have about over $5.3 million in budget adjustments. These are for fire facilities, the DIF funds, Park Quimby tax, gas tax, health and wellness center. It does include the public facilities improvements, which is for those bonds, and other funds. And these funds, these increases are taken care of either from reserves or equity in those funds or increased revenues from those funds. So we have any questions?
We'll entertain questions. Before we actually entertain questions, let's get public comments out of the way first. I'm sorry, were you done with the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. We'll start with Zoom. Is there anybody on Zoom?
No, there are not.
Okay. Anybody in the audience like to speak to this item? Okay. We'll entertain questions from staff or from council. We'll start with Ms. Pye. Anything?
Good job.
Thank you.
Mr. Nunez? Mr. Gardner? Mr. Betts?
Well, of course. Sorry. I was out at Eastvale in an event about, this relates to the budget, by the way. It was 5 years ago. It was a league event. And I looked at their recreation department that they had going. It happened to be going at the same time they were having the league meeting. And it was really active and really nice. And I'm thinking, God, I wish we had that. And we had this beautiful building, but it was just sitting empty. And, now you take a look and it's a different story. That dream from 5 years ago with the work of staff and everybody else and all of the council here and that deal that was put together. So we got a recreation department that's going. I swear this relates to the budget. So we all want this stuff to go on. It all takes money. And I note in this budget that we've took in 2.9, we spent an extra 1.2 or something, and we only ended up with 105,000. Is that about correct?
Yes.
So, our revenue's increasing, but our spending's increasing. And we've got to keep in mind that as wonderful and as this stuff is, someday, everything's cyclical. And I would like to see something come to the council on, if Michael Bush is going to get here on planning ahead for anything that's going to be a downturn, a recessionary downturn, that I don't want to start cutting services. I don't want to lose that recreation program. I want to do what we got money coming in now, what we can do to secure some of these things, because we went through some really horrible times here, and I don't want to go through that again. The other thing is, I will make the pitch that I would love to see Omnis come in and take a look at our roads and give us what our PCI rating is on that now. I want to see that needs to be done. It's easy to spend your roads. The analogy I'll use is you're in your house and your roof isn't so good, but you decided to go off and buy a big screen TV and you neglected your roof. Well, it's the same with the roads. We've got to take care of these roads. It's not the most fun thing to do. It's just a necessity. And I just want to make sure they're getting taken care of, that we aren't spending our roads that we are. So if to put into the perspective where we are in the budget, the necessary basic infrastructure if staff could come through at some future meeting with an ominous report, if we're still using them as a consultant, and get us the PCI road rating overall, that would make me feel much better. But thanks for the work staff's doing on this. Got a lot of confidence in Jeffrey and his team. When we're in the meetings together, I ask him some pretty tough questions, and he's right there, very conservative financing. I don't get any of this, smoke and mirrors coming back in the conversation. He's concerned about all this, about this as much as we all are. So, thank you.
You said roads weren't fun. I saw Nick and Danny lift their heads, and they were like, what? Wait, roads are really fun. I like road projects, so I agree with that. We need to make sure our roads stay a priority. Great job to you and your staff, Mr. Buckheim, for giving that report and moving forward. At this time, I'll entertain a motion. Moved by Mr. Nunez, second by Mr. Gardner. Please vote. Please, did you move it on your screen? There you go.
There's a delay, I think.
Yeah, it's, all right, there you go. Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Item 7 is a delegation of the investment authority to the city treasurer and adopt the investment policy for fiscal year 22-23. Mr. Buckheim.
Motion to approve? Oh.
Well, I do need to, if no one needs a staff report, and I know Mr. Buckheim, you worked very hard on this, we'll open it up quickly for public comment. Is there any public comments? Any public comments? You don't see anybody, and I see no. We'll close public comments, and I have a motion by Mr. Betts to approve this item. Is there a second? And there's a second. Great report, Mr. Buckheim, on this one. It was so good, we didn't even have to hear it.
No, thank you.
Please vote.
Mr. Buckheim, I did read it.
Motion passes unanimously.
We all did. Read it every year.
All right, thank you for that. It was announced that it passed unanimously. No items were pulled from the consent calendar. Future agenda items can be talked with the city manager's office. Is there anybody that popped in for public comment?
We have one, Michael Lewis.
Mr. Lewis? Lewis, you'll have to there you go. Go ahead. Mr. Lewis, we can't hear you. Can you hear us? You're unmuted now. I apologize for any technical difficulties. It sounds like we can't hear what you're trying to say. We'll have our staff reach out to you, and maybe we can get those comments to the council. I have no other comments at this time. We will adjourn the meeting at 7:17.